parents will not let me move out in religious trauma. Don't miss out on the fun. Hit subscribe button and join our community for more stories like this one. Okay, first of all, just want to say that this might be quite long simply because I need to vent and maybe get some perspective. And I've been raised in a strict religious, Latino household as the only and youngest daughter. That should already tell you something. It's hard to put this all into words because I hardly understand it myself. My parents are great people in the sense that they've done and still do everything for my benefit and for my success, which is why this is so hard. It feels like I am ungrateful. However, the cost of this love and severe overprotection meant I never had much of a childhood or adolescence, mostly because of restrictions put on by religion and because they have been unknowingly infantilizing me. This means I have never been taken seriously and always steered away from normal children/teenage experiences for the sake of my innocence. Growing up with older brothers who got to experience the things they wanted and are always taken seriously revolted me because I never understood why I wasn't treated the same. Fast forward to today, I'm 20 years old and in my second year of university. I can financially sustain myself if I were to live independently, so I could just walk out if I wanted to. The household I live in has become dreadful to me. I dread walking in the door every day and always pause before I open the door so I can collect myself. Because of my parents' religion, I am unable to have a social life. I cannot go out as please with the people I please at the time I please. I cannot drink, go to a party, go to a bar on Friday night, go out at all on Saturdays, dress the way I want to, listen to what I want to, wear jewelry, have a boyfriend, and a lot more. I have to sit in my room and witness all these things and listen to all my friends' recollections from their previous night out and just accept the fact I am missing out. My parents take their religion very seriously. In fact, my father is one of the leaders in our church, which means my family is always heavily involved and seen as an example. This comes with an immense pressure. We have a lot of religious routines and doctrines to follow. It has never crossed my mind that what I've been doing my whole life is considered extreme until my therapist pointed it out to me. Replace me with your own words. When this realization hits you, it breaks you and it keeps you up at night, every night. Because you realize your whole life has been a lie and pointless suffering. I no longer know who I am. I look at old pictures of myself and I cannot recognize that person. I am going through a lot of internal conflict, guilt and realizations that it takes a very big toll on my emotional well-being and comes with a lot of mood swings. I no longer have an identity. I say that because in these last 2 years during the pandemic I was forced to combine who I really am and who I have always pretended to be in front of my family. It has always been so natural for me to have this dual life that I never felt the need to confront my parents or show them my real personality, mostly to keep myself safe, keep the peace and to avoid conflict and disappointment. However, because of quarantine and other things I've had to deal with during that time, I felt this bubble I was in my whole life finally pop and I finally started to see things for what they are. This triggered a desire in me to want to do whatever the fuck I felt like still behind my parents' back, and the result of that was a huge identity crisis. I have now turned into the person I have always been warned about. I am exactly what my parents despise, mostly out of spite and frustration. I have a close family friend of the same age as me, who I grew up with at church. Her parents are exactly and if not worse than mine. Long story short, she decided she had enough and she moved out without her parents' permission. This caused a lot of problems. My own father was revolted. I decided to have a sleepover at her new place. That's what I told my parents. Instead, me and this friend went out clubbing for the night. She posted a video of us to her social media. As it turned out, her father had been stalking her socials ever since she left, and when he saw the video of me and her partying, he did the inexplicable and sent it to my parents. I cannot express enough how much of a traumatic experience this was. My mother spent days violently crying in betrayal and disappointment. She would come into my room in the middle of the night and pray. She still randomly does. I was lectured, and all this shame was dumped onto me for going to a party. The only party I have ever been to in my 20 years. I have many other examples where my parents have reacted disproportionately to the simplest thing. My mother bawled her eyes out in absolute disgrace and anguish when I told her I went to the cinema instead of going to school when I was 16. She has followed me in absolute tears to school when I told her I wanted to walk alone with my friend who was a boy because she thought I was going to be kidnapped and sold as sex slave. Her words, not mine. This was when I was maybe 14. My parents spent my entire adolescence telling me they strongly disagreed with me going to university at 18 because I would be easily influenced and instead I should spend a few years doing missionary work for the church. This lack of trust in my character and in my ability to make my own decisions always infuriated me. The time for university came, and since they always shat on the idea of going to university too young and that I would under no circumstances go to a university too far because I am to remain home, I didn't really feel optimistic about it. I turned 18 and decided to go university regardless, however I still had to remain home. Therefore I applied to a university in a different city from mine that was still easily commutable but far enough for me to have some sort of experience. This means, however, I have to commute 2 hours to and 2 hours back, multiple days a week for 1-hour lectures, which is very exhausting. I thought in the midst of all this bullshittery I'd at least be able to join the volleyball team as it's my favorite sport. I was very excited to have this opportunity to socialize and put my energy towards something. Nope, volleyball practice is quite late in the evening, meaning I wouldn't even be able to make my last train home. All I want is to move out and make a life for myself, and to experience things and be able to make my own decisions. I feel like I have been robbed of everything I am and everything I could be for the sake of religion and morality. I am at my wit's end. I wish I could pack my bags and leave like my friend did. However, my parents have this psychological hold on me that it feels impossible. I know it would break my family apart if I were to just move out. It would send my parents into a spiral of disappointment and shame. It may not seem like it, but it would honestly ruin me and my family emotionally, and I don't know if I can take it. I don't know what to do. Comments. You have to make a decision. Your mental health or theirs, and their mental health isn't her decision to make. Yeah, if you burst into tears because your daughter is leaving the house with a person and you're convinced she's about to be kidnapped, that doesn't sound terribly healthy. It sounds like manipulation through guilt tripping. To me, not healthy, but definitely calculated. If you don't leave now, you'll end up like all the other grown Latinos in their 40s who still live with their parents and their parents still control everything about their lives. You know what I'm talking about. Don't let that be you. You have manipulative parents. I would get a place of your own and just not come back. Yes, they are going to scream and try to shame you, but it sounds like you will have a lonely life single if you remain. They will forgive you later and understand. As trite as it sounds, this is the way. You have reached a crossroads mentally where you now have two choices. You can take control of your life and make your own decisions, realizing that you will probably have to cut off contact with your parents because they will do everything they can to make you feel awful about your life, or you can continue to let them dictate how you should behave. It sucks that you grew up in this kind of environment, but you're old enough now to decide what you want your life to be like, and it's not your fault your parents are religious zealots. This is not uncommon in devout households, because the history of most religions is one of oppression and reproductive control, hence the difference in how you were treated compared to your brothers. Also, you can write a heartfelt letter that they can return back to and reflect upon. Talk about if not at 20, then when? I don't know real life yet and how much you love and appreciate them. Even write it now and say soon I will be going out into the world, even bring their religion into it and say you will be protected, etc. Good luck, and amazing that you've had this realization. It's your turn now. They might not, but what seems sure is that if you don't get away from their control, you will continue to live this in their small, repressive world until they die. You will get crazy backlash for it no matter when you leave, so start planning now with info from r/RaisedByNarcissists. Look under helpful links for leaving. Don't tell any family until after you're out. Then let bros and parents know you are safe and plan on living your life, making your own choices. If they want to be in your life, they all must respect your choice to be treated like the adult you are, and if they spew arguments and other BS at you, hang up and don't talk to them for a few days/week. Don't tell any of them where you live until you absolutely trust they won't tell any, just nos in your family. Life is too short to live it to make someone else happy. You can only make yourself happy, so do it. There is only risk if you want to see it as risking what? Disapproval. If they really want you to be isolated, that is abuse. Familial contract. Bad and evil contracts are meant to be broken and burned. I'm surprised they didn't put you in a nunnery when you hit puberty. This is all just completely selfish and abusive. Get your stuff together and go rent a room somewhere. They won't like it, but you are an adult. Go to school, get a job, and live your best life. That is the point of strict religion control by parents and aunts/uncles. Total control. The abuse is obvious. Move out. Get away, don't have a sit down, just go. Sit down is a point of conflict, which is not what you need or want. Leave a note, leave a message, leave a card, and go NC for a month. In my experience, after you move out and start making your own decisions, it will take a long time before they stop melting down and slash or blaming you every time you see them. But if you stick it out and grey rock them, give no or minimal responses and information when they try to be emotionally controlling, then they will eventually realize that it isn't having the desired effect. And they will relent somewhat, and you can have a semi-normal relationship again. Semi-normal because you will have to keep reinforcing that you will stay away if they are hurting you. They will want to go back to the way things were if you let them. You will need to make some decisions about who you really want to be, and get to know yourself so you can have the strength to be that person, and take the risk to move away. You won't know in advance if they will change, but parents do often make ways to have a relationship with their children. You're a great person. I hope you can find the right path to be your best you. Reply: thank you so much for your suggestions, it really helps. As for how they are preventing me, I'd say it's a more cultural expectations and familial contract than anything. It sounds stupid, I know, but it's a really hard mentality to escape. I'm working with my therapist to build my confidence and autonomy, as I was conditioned to believe I never had any. Subscribe and hit the bell button for the best Reddit stories available.